What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be starting a new series, and it's going to be called Flip of the Week. Now, I'm debating on whether I want to do one for each sport or do I want to do one just in general for each week. But we'll figure that out. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. But this week we are going to be highlighting Jarren Duran. Now, Jarren Duran, for any of you that don't know, is a baseball player for the Boston Red Sox. He has a left-handed, beautiful swing. He is a very powerful hitter, although he does hit for a ton of average. He does play mainly center field, but as you can see, Baseball Reference does have him listed as a second baseman as well, which means he could potentially play around as a utility sort of player, playing either the outfield spots or second base. That's similar to I think what Mookie Betts did, who was also a Red Sox. Geez. But I'm not saying he's Mookie Betts, unfortunately, although I would love if he was, because I am a big believer in him and have invested a lot of money. But the reason for us having this video is because of how well he has been playing late. Now, as we go through his stats, you can see he was a 3-year player in college, started off in low A in 2018, where he hit 348 with only 2 home runs. He gets called up, hits 367 with 1 home run. Phenomenal rookie season in the pros. Next, he starts off the year at high A, hits 387 with 4 home runs, immediately gets called up to double A, where he does struggle, hitting 250 with a atrocious 634 OPS and only 1 home run. But as most people know who are investors and collectors in baseball, AAA is normally the make or break of a player. It takes them time. It's the hardest jump that they're going to make from A ball or high A to double A, which is it really determines how well a player is going to play. But for Jarren Duran, that really didn't seem to matter. He played in the fall league and he hit 1 home run, hit 267. His strikeout to walk ratio did improve a little bit, but for anyone that really followed him, this right here was the big jump for him in Puerto Rico. Now, he was a player that did not sit out the COVID season. He found ways to play. He went to Puerto Rico. He went overseas to play baseball to try and better himself. And in these 30 at-bats in 7 games in Puerto Rico, he had a 400 average, 1.140 OPS, as well as 1 home run. Now, his walks to strikeouts were almost identical, which was something very surprising for him. And that was what made me think, you know what? This guy's a hard worker. This guy didn't sit out like what most players did throughout COVID. And although most players were probably training, he put on a ton of muscle while training, fixed his swing to have more of an higher launch angle, I'm pretty sure. And he just continued to play baseball, which a lot of people needed, and it's showing. So that's why when he started off this season in AAA, and he's now hitting 279 for average with a 950 OPS, he has 15 home runs. This guy has never hit more than 5 home runs in a year, as you can see here. He has 15 this year. That is surprising. That is special for a guy to make that much of an improvement. And it's just amazing to see a guy that we knew and a lot of people knew could have a big season come out and prove them to be correct. Now, if you look at the Boston Red Sox roster, there is one big hole on their team, and that is their center field position. They've been platooning players around the outfield, and they haven't seemed to find a fix. Jarren Duran is that fix. If you look at this recent article by Mass Live, it says that Jarren Duran was left out of the Team USA Olympic roster. What's this mean? Well, Jarren Duran played for the U.S. Olympic team in the qualifiers, and he played very well. He, I think, played phenomenally with multiple home runs, a super high average in the few games that the U.S. had to play to qualify. But what does him being left off the team actually mean? Well, as you read here, the tournament begins July 30th, and it goes through August 7th. If the Red Sox were to promote Duran to the pro team, he would not be able to just leave Team USA halfway through, because that would just be them losing a roster spot, and it'd be very hard for them to replace. So this makes a lot of people suspect from July 30th to August 7th, or even earlier, Jarren Duran is going to be called up to the majors. This is going to boost his cards if you look at recent players like Wander Franco, and I don't have the data pulled up currently, but his cards jumped up around 50% just for him being called up, which is huge for any player. It doesn't matter what you look at. See, if we look at the past month for Wander Franco, he was called up June 18th. His PSA 10s were at $217 and jumped up to $330 in a one-day span. So this shows that players can jump up almost 50% in their prices just from them being called up. It doesn't matter how they play. So this makes a lot of people think, hey, this is a person that I'm going to buy now, and then immediately once he gets called up, flip for a higher amount of money, which means you're basically getting free money without doing anything. You just have to make sure that after taxes and fees, or however you're selling it for more than you purchased it for, which should theoretically happen no matter what, because the players' card prices are going to go up. Now, the one thing that really helps Duran is that he is a Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox have a huge following. They are in the pennant race, and Jarren would immediately be a everyday type of player, just because that is the one hole they have on the team. Now, he is a little bit older than most prospects. As we see here, he is 24 turning 25, which does kind of, hurt his, I guess, potential for growth in the card market. But it also, to me, makes me think he's not going to struggle like Jarred Kelenic did or Wander Franco did when they get called up. Jarren's had more minor league at-bats. He played in college. He has a lot of experience. And he's an older player that has a little bit more baseball knowledge than these younger guys might have just because of his age and his experience. Now, I really believe that he is going to be called up in the month of July. So that means I've been buying his cards for the past, I'd say, 6 months or so. I have a Bowman base auto. I have a Bowman green auto that I just purchased for $400, which I thought was a phenomenal deal. I'm going to try and grade it. And then I have an orange Bowman base card, Chrome, and I think those are 3 really good pieces to have in my collection. I'm buying base cards, I'm buying base PSA 10s, I'm buying base autos just because of how much I believe in Jarren Duran. And it's not just me pumping him to try and get you guys to buy him. I'm thinking about holding on to mine for years because of how good I think he is going to become. I think he's going to be a power hitter, and he's also very fast. He's not this guy that's just mainly all power. In his career, he's been more of a speed threat. And if we look at his stats, and we see if we can find him, his stolen bases, last year, or the last time he played a full season, he had 46 steals in 519 at-bats. So that's really good. In 130 games, he had 46 steals, meaning he's getting a steal roughly every 3 games or so, which is actually a pretty good number to have. So he is still that speed threat, although his power numbers have still gone up. Now, if we look at what MLB.com has to say about Duran, they're expecting his call-up date to be in 2021, if you look right here, and he is 24 years old, like we talked about. He's got a sweet swing. He's a left-handed bat. And they say that he's raised his profile significantly, which he has because he's shown that he is a contact hitter. Until this year, which they're not including, is his extremely high power increase. I don't know what you want to call it. I think they're ranking his power at a 45. And for a guy who's leading minor league baseball, if we look here, here's his OPS. He has the 6th highest OPS behind Wander Franco, if any of you know him. If you look at home runs, he has the 2nd most home runs in AAA, yet he only has a 45 power, which to me does not make sense. His hit grade at 55, sure, I think it could be closer to a 60, but he also has that 70 run, which is plus and higher than plus, which is very good. Now, they're saying his best offensive tools is plus speed, which I definitely think is true. It means you can beat out infield ground balls. However, this is a little outdated because it's not even talking about his power or his ability to hit for average, which I think are some of his best tools for hitting the ball. and I think those are going to be very helpful for him, especially once he gets called up to the majors, where he's able to get those fluky hits with his speed, but he's also able to just demolish a ball and get his confidence up, as well as having a very good eye in general. I think Jarren's a guy that everybody needs to be looking out for. I think he's going to be our flip of the week, flip of the month, whatever you want to call it. He's a guy that I would be purchasing now and flipping in the future. Now, if we look at his steals to see if they're still up there, he's been mainly a power hitter this year, but he's still 12th in AAA for steals, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good number. Vidal Brujan's a guy at 15 who's known pretty much for his speed only. Jeter Downs is a really fast player. So I think Duran, the thing with him is he has a 581 slugging. Not all these guys ahead of him don't have a slugging anywhere near him. He has the 6th highest slugging, which means if you look at Wander and you look at his steals, Wander's at 5. These people with higher sluggings than him aren't even close to where his numbers are for his slugging or for his steals. So that makes you think, oh wow, he's hitting a lot of home runs or he's hitting a lot of extra base hits where it's very difficult to steal third, and it's very difficult to steal a base in general when you're going around all 4. So it's really something to think of. Maybe his speed hasn't dropped off. As you can see, he's only been caught stealing 3 times, but maybe he's just not getting the chances that he normally would have had in a prior season. Now, the thing that is a negative, he's not all positives, is his strikeout to walk ratio. It's not horrible at 47 to 22. It's almost 1 to 2, which is not, it's not horrible. A lot of players have that range, especially in the majors, and if a player can keep that average while in the majors without having it spike up in their first couple of seasons, I think we kind of saw that with Vlad. I'm not 100% sure, but it does take some players time to understand Major League Baseball and adapt to that. So if Duran can do that and continuously hit for average and power, even if his average drops to 250 in the majors, or if it drops to 240-ish, but he's still hitting those home runs, he's still going to be a high-profile player, especially if the Red Sox continue their pennant race and get closer and closer to a World Series. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and give me any suggestions you have for this Flip of the Week series, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.